you know, I had ups and downs in my life. And I'm from Patterson, New Jersey, like I told you all. And me and my first wife, we moved down here. I had land, my family land, and I came down and I stayed in my Aunt Blanche house, my father's sister house, until I got my house up. We moved from Patterson, New Jersey, my 3 kids, plus we adopted my 2 nieces because they was on the verge when we was in the process of getting ready to move down in North Carolina. They was in the process of going into a foster home. So nobody didn't want to take them, so me and my first wife stepped up and we went downtown Patterson and got the adoption and adopted them. So we brought them down with us. Mind you, that's my first wife, older sister kids. She was in prison. And so her kids was left out there. We took them in. My son was just going to Eastside High School, which is the high school, if you ever seen Lean On Me with Joe, that's the school my son was getting ready to go to. He was going to be a freshman in Eastside High School. So my wife, I had already put in a transfer to go to the Research Triangle Park Post Office. Mind you, right when Jacquees was getting ready to go to Eastside High School, it was like he did 2 weeks, it was in September. He did like after Labor Day, school started, he was in the process of going to Eastside High School. All of a sudden, my wife got a letter saying that the transfer went through, Research Triangle Park. So we packed up, moved down here September 26th of 2003.
Okay.
And we packed up and we moved down here because she had and that was God, because I didn't want my son going to this school because they was recruiting gang, Bloods and Crips and all that. And some of them kids came to my house and they wanted Jacquees and they wanted him to come outside. I said, my son ain't going nowhere. I said, go in the house, Jacquees. And so my friend Rick, he was like, D, man, come in the house, man. That joker got a gun. So I went in the house, but anyway, that's what we was going through, and we got out of there just in time. My wife got the transfer, so we moved down. My Aunt Blanche told me we could stay in her house until I get my house up. Got my house up in 2005. 2005, we got our house up, we moved down in 2003. And we raised our kids, +2. And everything, and they all graduated high school, Vance Senior High, and they all graduated from there, except for my daughter that's deaf. She went to the School of Deaf in Wilson, North Carolina, and she graduated from there. So as kids, they moved out and everything. It was just me and my wife, and we living in that big house by ourselves, and we not seeing eye to eye. She got her, we didn't have the same plan in life no more, and we grew apart. So I left. My mother was like, let her have it, go, you got 8 more acres down the road, let her have it and go, because if you go back to prison, Darryl, I'm not gonna be there for you. So I just took everything in me, but I stepped off and I left. And that's how I became homeless. And I was living with my baby daughter for a little while. Then things went, with her and her friend and everything, and I moved down. And then, I went to Recovery Innovations. I was depressed, losing everything, mad at the world, mad at women, period. I got a black cloud over me. And so I went to a rural health clinic. I met a woman named Karen Stinson. She helped me get into Recovery Innovations. I went to Recovery Innovations and they gave me a bed for like 7-9 days. So in that process, they try to find you somewhere to go. So they tried to get me to go to Durham Rescue Mission, but Durham Rescue Mission wouldn't accept me because I wasn't an alcoholic or drug, So they was just taking like that. Then it was this counselor there. she was a counselor. Her husband was Chuck, uncle or something like that, and told me about it. They're renovating the whole house and everything, and said that if you go to the Henderson Men's Shelter, you might be considered going in the whole house. Would you go to the Henderson Men's Shelter? I said, yes, I'll go. So I went to Henderson Men's Shelter. I met Chuck and everything, and Chuck told me if I do everything I'm supposed to do in here, he'll consider me in going into the Hope House. So mind you, back then it used to be a line down at First Presbyterian Church in the basement of the church. It used to be a line, people be waiting to get in the shelter. So you had to show up on time. So I would show up on time all the time, every day. Every day I come on time. And you get to 15, 16, Chuck closed the door. Can't take no more. We reached capacity. So while I was there and everything, I was going to, after I left Recovery Innovations, they hooked me up with Daymar because of I had to get my mental right because I was mad at the world, you know, and I was just going to my group meetings at Daymar, and I spout out, and I was just mad. I was mad at women, period, you know, and because I lost everything with my first wife and everything. So they was, you know, talk to me in my group meeting. It was like, Darryl, you don't have to be like that. And, you know, here's everybody exchange phone numbers. Call me if you feel in a certain type of way and everything. So, you know, I took phone numbers and I was called. But, you know, Vanessa, she was in my group meeting, and who my wife is now, who I'm married to now. And she would like, you know, come get me. You know, I'm like, she'll come get me, take me to the movies, buy me clothes. I'm like, what's she doing all this for me for? You know, I'm mad at women, you know, you know, and she would come and pick me up when we go to the group meetings and stuff like that. So I'm like, okay, you know, I'm still mad. I ain't really feeling it because I went through what I went through. So I'm not really feeling it. But anyway, so that was one resource I went to. And then I was going to vocational rehabilitation. I was going to Workforce Solutions. I was going to NC Work First. I was going to all that while I was down in the shelter. Vanessa would pick me up from the shelter. And we had to be out 6:30 in the morning. I come out the shelter, she out there waiting. So I'm like, hey, you know, so okay, so she would take me and, you know, and so I'm going through all this, going through all my group meetings, going to my appointments with vocational rehabilitation, NC Workforce. I'm doing all this while I'm in the shelter. So it got to the point, well, April 1st came around. I went to the shelter in 2014, the end of 2014. 2015, okay, the shelter only opens up from October 1st to March 31st. So I would, you know, at the end of the season, it was April 1st, 2015. So Chuck came, and out of 16 men, Chuck picked me and this other guy to go in the Hope House. And we went to the Hope House, me and Larry Jeffries. We went to the Hope House. So, mind you, Vanessa, she's still there with me, coming to the Hope House and everything. And, you know, I had my job coach. I landed a job at Taco Bell while I was in the Hope House and everything. And I started working at Taco Bell November of 2015. And then June 16, 2016, I moved out of Hope House. Me and Vanessa got married June 18, 2016. So I moved out of Hope House, and so I was like, this woman here with me when I'm down and out, I had to look at it. My mother was like, don't you do her ugly, Darryl. Don't you do her ugly. I had to take a look at it, and I was like, Dad, she there for me, and so I had to take that in consideration. So, and everything led to, I loved her because she done this when I ain't had nothing, so it had to be something good with that. So, build up and everything as time went on. I'm working at Taco Bell. The board, they told Joe Rice to come talk to me about being the manager at the Henderson Men's Shelter. Joe Rice came to Taco Bell, talked to my manager, and said, asked my manager, because she talked to me, and she said, yeah, April told Darryl, somebody out there want to talk to you, and it was Joel. I sat down with Joel. Joe was like, look, Darryl, he said, you did everything right, and you did everything right that you're supposed to do, and everything, and we want to ask you, do you want to be the manager of the Henderson Men's Shelter? The board wanted me to come and ask you, and would you be? And I was like, yeah, and not to get off that, but before, I want y'all to also know, earlier in Patterson, when I was a younger adult out there, I was doing when I drug peddling, and then I came my best customer, and I got on drugs, and I was addicted, and I went to the shelter, through the shelter system up there, and when I was young. So I've been on both sides of it, domestic-wise and addiction-wise. So I know both sides of it. So, but anyway, we went through that, and I told Joel I would accept, and so I became the shelter manager of the Henderson Men's Shelter. A few months down the line, came to me again, asked me, Darryl, would you be the house manager of the Hope House, the Man Transition Hope House? I said yes, right? And being that I went through shelter in my younger years, and then domestic-wise with my first wife, I'm like, oh, well, God. Now I'm talking to God. I got my relationship with God at the Hope House because I prayed every day up in the Hope House. That's when I got my relationship with God, because I would pray every morning until that day to right now. I'd pray. And I never prayed before then in 2015 when I moved in the Hope House. I got my prayer relationship with God in the Hope House. And right now I pray today, every morning I get up, I go in my prayer closet and I pray every morning, right? So I'm like, oh, okay. I'm like, God, what are you trying to tell me? So we're doing on me. I'm like, this is my purpose. This is my purpose. This is what you're telling me. Because all that came like boom, boom. Now I'm the manager of the Innocent Men's Shelter, house manager of the Transition Men Hope House. And then I'm like, you want me to get back. You want me to tell my story. You want me to be an advocate for this ministry. And Community Partners of Hope with Joel Rice, Jane, Ron Carver, Chuck, all these people that came in my life, they was all pieces to get me back in that right direction, and they believed in me. They believed in me. And plus, I wanted my life back. Because, I ain't no popcorn peanut joker. Never been, but I went through that episode in my life. So, I really wanted my life back. And I got it back with the people that God placed in front of me that reached out while I was in the ditch, pulled me up with my wife, turning me on to Freedom Life. I started going to Freedom Life in 2015. And I was going to church and everything. And I was like, all these pieces is placed with God. I was following God. I was in the footsteps, leading on that right path, and and it strengthened me. I'm 11 years clean and sober. 11 years clean and sober, got my mind right, You know, I'm going, Community Partners of Hope paid for me to go to up in Raleigh. I went to the convention, the homeless, Stop the Homeless convention up in the McKinnon Center with Joel Rice and Henry Cruz. All of us went up there. I went to Greenville, seen other shelters and everything. Mind you, I know about shelters up top up in Jersey because I was in the shelter in Jersey. And I went to the mountains and everything. So I did everything I was supposed to do to put me in this position. And, you know, and I just thank God for being there for me. And I have a person like Oakley who I inspired, and I want him to get up and say a little something, you know, because, you know, this is what I do, and this is my heart, and I'm compassionate about this. So,
and we thank God for you.